Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock on a Friday. It's time for a review show revisited. This is where I take tricks that we've reviewed over the previous weeks and months and we revisit them. We go and perform them in the real world and we see if that if that performance changes the review of the product. Sometimes we'll take a negative review and turn it into a positive review based on the reaction from the audiences. Sometimes it'll be in reverse. You never know. This has become a really fun, really engaging, really popular video on the channel. So without further ado, we're going to get straight into it with the first product. Okay, so the first product we're going to be looking at today is going to be Zoltar Speaks by Alakazam Magic, and specifically by Peter Nardi. Now, this is a routine that has been marketed by Alakazam, and basically what this is a way of doing a very simple prediction based around the character Zoltar from the film Big. Now, when we reviewed this on the Craig and Ryland review show, we talked about how it's a really powerful opening routine that has a very similar sort of impact level to the standard performance way of doing the invisible deck, because it really is, there's a lot of similarities. You have a deck down on the table from the beginning, you have them name a card, you show that it's the only card in the deck that's different. Rather than being the only card in the deck that's turned over, it's the only card in the deck with an odd back. That's basically what the routine is. It's a very, very strong, very powerful routine. And, we wanted to see what it was actually like in the real world. And we wanted to see what the actual reactions were going to be like from real people. So we went and performed it. And that's what we've got right here. So this is a live performance of Zoltar Speaks by Alakazam Magic. Will you help me with this one?
Yeah.
You ever seen that old film, Big?
Yeah.
With Tom Hanks. I mean, it's a classic, right? Okay. It's a classic. And do you remember the Zoltar machine?
Yeah.
Well, I have an official branded deck of Zoltar cards right here. I'm going to try and do something with this. Okay, so as you can see, they're mind-reading Zoltar cards. And all it says on the box here is, think of a card. So can you think of a card?
Yes.
Any one of the 52 cards. Yeah. You've got it in your head, yeah? Important, it's not the Joker. You can see that on the box. Not the Joker. You got it?
Yeah.
Now, what does it say on that side?
It
says, name your card. So what was your card?
9 of Hearts.
You're not going to believe this. On the back of the box, do you know what it says? It says, I knew you would name that card. No, really. No, really, it did. It knew. You could have named any card. I'll even let you change your mind at this point if you want to. Would you like to stick with the 9 of Hearts? Or
yeah.
You'd like to stick?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Have you ever helped a magician before?
No.
You're not helping one now? That's the 9 of Hearts.
Yeah.
Well, they're all going to here somewhere, aren't they? So let's see if we can find the 9 of Hearts. Tell me if you see it. There's an 8 of Hearts. There's a 6 of Hearts. There will be a 9 of Hearts in here somewhere. There it is. That's the 9 of Hearts. And you could have picked any card, couldn't you? But you picked the 9 of Hearts.
Yeah.
And I didn't influence you at any point, did I? I mean, you literally could have picked any card. Because this is the interesting thing. These are Zoltar cards. You can always tell a Zoltar deck of cards. They've got Zoltar on them. You can see that, right?
Yeah.
And you could have picked this one or this one or this one or this one. Any of these cards you could have picked. You could have ended up on that card, or you could have ended up on that card, or you could have ended up on that card. But you ended up on the 9 of Hearts, and Zoltar knew you would pick the 9 of Hearts, which is why the 9 of Hearts is the only one with a different coloured back. I know. What's exciting is that's the very first time that's worked, so we've got to share the moment together, which is wonderful. There you go. Zoltar knows who are. There you go. So that was a performance done to a group of people in a family restaurant, and as you can see, they loved it. Now, they saw a lot of really strong magic during that set. I did my card under box routine. I did a whole bunch of stuff. Ryland was performing as well. And, that got a great reaction. And I think there's a few reasons why. And to be honest, I wasn't surprised, because when we reviewed it, we knew it would go well. It's one of those tricks, by the way, that I think people might worry about because the deck's not examinable. But you don't need to worry about that because the deck doesn't need to be examinable. You focus attention. The attention isn't on the deck. The attention is on the card that they've picked. That's where the attention is. The attention is, you know, they name a card, the card's put down on the table, you show the rest of the deck, and then when you turn the card over, it's shown to have the odd back. And that's where the focus is. So nobody ever suspects the deck. And, you know, I've talked about this before on many different videos on the channel about we shouldn't worry too much about examinability, because a lot of the time people don't worry about that. I have had people comment saying, oh, that's because you're a professional magician, and, you know, if you're an amateur, it's more of a concern. Honestly, it's not. You know, as a you know, I'm a hobbyist as well as a professional magician. I love showing magic to my friends and my family, and I do it exactly the same way, and it's never an issue to my friends and my family either. And if you perform it in the real world, you know, depending on the environment you're going into, you know, there are people out there that will want to examine everything. So I think that's probably not correct. But there's certain routines that you do have to worry about examinability issues with. Ones that just like scream, I need to examine that, and they can't. But something like this, honestly, examinability is totally not an issue. It's really not. The other thing that I really like about this trick, and to be honest, I glossed over it in the original review, but having now performed it, it's a real strong moment in the routine, is all the writing on the box, where you have them, you're getting them to read out, pick a card, and then you're showing the sides of the box, and then the other side of the box, and then the back of the box. That's really cool. It's a very nice way to have a card freely picked, and it kind of just plays into the whole Zoltar thing as well. So it's really good, really nice, really like it. It gets the same percentage. I think I gave it 100%. I'm not changing that. It plays really strong. It's highly recommended. It's great. So there you go. I'm going to play the footage again for you and just do a commentary track over the top like we normally do on these Friday night videos, just so you can get an idea of what I was doing, why I was doing it, so on and so forth.
Okay, so like I said, one of the greatest things about this trick is the hook line. Everybody, young and old, knows big and knows Zoltar, which makes it very interesting the second that you bring the prop out. The prop is a very engaging prop, and the box has been so well designed by Alakazam. I think the big piece of advice I can give you when you watch this is not to rush the performance. I think sometimes as performers we tend to rush through things, and we tend to kind of go through the path of least resistance to try and as quickly as possible get to the end result. But this is something that you don't have to rush. This procedure that people follow in order to pick a card is really kind of a fun way to do it, and also it reiterates that it is a completely free choice of playing card. So when they've picked the card, you get to the point when you've done all of the stuff with the box that you're going to take the cards out of the case. Now, I know that when people use this principle, sometimes they can be a little bit nervous or a little bit worried. And honestly, the big piece of advice I can give you is not to be. Don't be nervous. Don't be worried about this at all. It's the old expression, isn't it? Don't run if you're not being chased. Now, you can see that all I do, as per the instructions from Peter, to be honest, is I just put their card down on the table. Now, notice that at this point, I'm going to show that all the other cards are Zoltar. And notice I flick through them a couple of times. I like to do that because if they don't realise that all of those cards have Zoltar on them, there's literally no trick. So in case somebody's not looking or they're looking away, I flick through them a couple of times, and then I even kind of do this other bit at the end where I'm kind of saying you could have picked this card and this card and this card. The whole routine lives and dies by the fact that they realise that their card is the only odd card in the deck. Now, the other thing that I'll say is at the end, I like to take a sting out a lot of these routines. You know, that little line that I use at the end, that's the first time that worked. You know, we got to share the moment together. It kind of takes the sting out of everything and just brings it back to being fun and being comedic and not being too serious, which is what I want it to be, because ultimately that's my style, that's my character, and so I have to make sure that I kind of bring everything back to that eventually.
Okay, so the next item that I want to draw to your attention is the Stage Size Acro Index by Blake Voigt. Now, I reviewed this on a 5x5 recently. However, I did review it beforehand, but the smaller version. This is the stage size version that I reviewed on the 5x5. And I said it's absolutely incredible. And I said it's probably, as the name suggests, only good for stage. And it's not something you'd want to do close up. I wanted to try and put that theory to the test and see if I was wrong. So I was thinking this might be a good opener for a big table situation. So I took this to a banquet style environment where I was performing to big banquet style tables, and I thought this will make a really good opener. If anything's going to make a really good opener, this will, because it's quick, it's visual, you can see it from a distance, I can grab people's attention. This should be a really good opener. So that's what I tried to do. I took it as I say, to a charity dinner, and I performed it as an opener to a big table to see how it goes. And this is what happened.
I have wrote something on that thing that I put in front of you. It is a prediction. It's a prediction that I think is going to come true in just 1 second. What is your name? I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, don't worry.
That wasn't me.
I didn't even notice you were chewing. What's your name, sorry? Stephanie. It's nice that I'm so sorry,
It's
Stephanie.
alright.
Stephanie, I've got a pack of 52 playing cards here. They're all there, they're all different. Stephanie, what I'd like you to do, I'm going to riffle down the deck with my thumb. I'd like you to say stop whenever you want to. Wherever you say stop, I'm going to give you that card, okay? So just say stop. Wonderful. Have a look at the card. You can show it your friends. Apparently, I'm not your friend. I feel we're bonding over this magical experience, but not it seems. That's fine. So you picked one card. You had a free choice of any card. Let me ask you a question, guys. I wrote something over here. On this piece of card, from the very beginning, I wrote something. Let me ask you a question to everybody. If this had your card written on the other side, would that be good?
Yeah.
Would that be good enough to get a big round of applause?
Yeah.
It does indeed have your card. There you go. Your card written on the other side. Thank you. You know the brain person. I tell you, once I say your card, you can go 1, 2, 3. I can change it right down to the King of Hearts. Was that your card? Amazing. You just did a double take. That was great. Thank you. Change. It's magic. It's unbelievable. No, I can tell you don't trust me. Give them a shuffle. That's wrong. Do me a favour though, sir. When you finish shuffling them, can you please put them back in the original order? It makes the trick a lot easier, to be honest. I was thinking of that card. I don't know how you did that.
You couldn't tell me what it is.
4 diamonds. Would have been good. Right. No idea. I'm not that good. You need dynamo for that. Right. What you just did, by the way, sir, is an overhand shuffle. 9 times out of 10, you give someone a pack of cards to shuffle. That's what they'll do. They'll do that. That's called an overhand shuffle. You can always tell a magician. Magician does one of these. This is called a waterfall shuffle. It's quite fancy. You can always tell a really good magician. They do one of these. This is called a pharaoh shuffle. Same sort of thing, but you get to hold cards in one hand at the end. So it's a bit fancier. This is the hardest shuffle of the lot. This is where you take the deck with one hand, you cut the deck with one hand, you shuffle the deck with one hand. You do absolutely everything with one hand. That's called a lonely guy with way too much time on his hands, just so you know. But you're going to pick the cards, sir. Do me a favour. As I riffle down through the deck, just say stop. Well, yes. Have you ever helped a magician before, sir? Because you're not helping one right now, to be honest. Try that
You picked the wrong person, really.
Say stop. Stop. Lovely. Can you do me a favour, sir? Have a look at that card that you stopped at. Show all your friends. And apparently I'm not your friend. I thought we were bonding over this magical experience, but not. Put it back in the deck, sir, anyway you want to. That is amazing. Try to remember it, because later on, when I dramatically say, this is your card, if you go, I don't know, it usually sits back like that.
We know what it is.
Well, when I walked over to you guys, I put this down on the table. This is a prediction. Now, be honest, if I told you that this had your card on the other side, would that be good? Would that be good enough to get a big round of applause? That'd be good, wouldn't it, Julia? You could have picked any card. And on here, you said you'd be amazed. It says, your card. Thank you very much. Your card. You said you'd be amazed. Your card. It's a gag, Julian. It's not that. You see where it says your card? Watch this. I go up and down, side to side, up and down. If I do it fast enough, I can actually have it change into the King of Hearts right there, Julian. That's magic. The other bit was comedy. King of Hearts, thank you very, very much.
So as you can see, they absolutely loved it. They had a great time. It made a great opener. It allowed me to inject some, funny gags at the beginning, and the your card gag is always really funny. And that's great as an opener because it establishes my character of somebody who doesn't take themselves too seriously. This is not going to be a serious, hardcore magic performance. This is probably going to be more quite comedic need it, which is great because that plays into my character. But then you've got that moment of magic that they see that really kind of hits them and hits them hard, which is exactly what I'm going for with my performances. So it fits my character really well. It might not work that well for you as an opener, but it worked really well for me. So you know what? I'm going to up this by 10% because I think the grade I gave it was based on the fact that it could only work on stage or it could only work parlour, whilst in actual fact, having now performed it, it works really well as a big table opener. In fact, I'm going to start taking this to every big table and using this as an opener on every big table because, man, it gets a great reaction. It really does. And people really enjoy it. So there you go. Acro Index stage size. Not only great for stage, but if you're a close-up performer and you work banquets or you work tables, this is a great opener for that as well. Just bear in mind, it's not going to fit in your jacket. So you need to make sure that you've got it somewhere that you can, you've got space on the table to put it down after you've performed it. But to be honest, examinability is not an issue.
Okay, so we're going to briefly look at both performances that I did of Acro Index. And it's a very simple prop. I mean, obviously, it's incredibly simple, but there's a few things to point out. And this is really more about the performing environment I'm performing in. As you can see to this group of people, you can't see actually, but there's probably about 10 people around this table. And I want you to see, although I'm using this as an opening routine, I'm not rushing this. A lot of people, when they work a big table, they rush the trick, their opening trick. Well, to be honest, they rush all of the magic and they make it all about the magic. It's like, hey, look, here's a trick, here's a trick, here's a trick. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to create some byplay. I'm trying to make it interesting for people. And I'm trying to actually build up a relationship with everybody on the table, which is why when this lady picks a card, I tell her to show everybody, and when I'm looking around the table, I'm looking at everyone. I'm trying to get eye contact with every single person on this table. Now when I get to the point that I actually pick up the Acro Index, as soon as I pick it up, I set it. Now they can't see a thing, I'm holding it set now. I build up the gag, I turn it around, and it's a funny gag, it's been around for years for a reason. But now, notice I show it to everybody. I show it to everyone, then I give it a shake, and then I show it to everybody again. And it's important that everybody can see what's going on when you perform this sort of thing. Now, notice I then throw it down on the table, and I move into another routine, which you can't see, but I move into cards across at this point. And I think the important part there is don't worry about people, you'll have people concerned, oh, what if I leave it there and people look at it? They won't. You move on with the act and no one's going to look at it at all. Trust me. Now, let's have a look at this second performance because there's a few things here that are a little bit different. It's worth actually talking about this. So first of all, I give the gentleman the pack of cards to shuffle. And obviously I've palmed out the force card, so that's in my right hand. A lot of the time when I'm forcing a card, I do like to actually have the deck shuffled, and palming a card out is so easy. And at that point I go into this little shuffling display. Now, because this is the opening routine, this does a couple of things. First of all, it's quite interesting byplay. People like seeing things like Pharaoh shuffles and one-handed shuffles, but the other thing it does is it establishes credibility. It makes people realise, okay, this is a guy that's good with a deck of cards. We're hopefully going to be seeing something a little bit special here. But I'm also not trying to play it as showing off, which is why I say to the joke, hey, that's a lonely guy with way too much time on his hands. But I am trying to establish credibility. Now, when I go for the riffle force, which is what I'm going for here, the guy doesn't say stop until the very, very end. Now, that can be something that flusters a lot of magicians, and I want you to see how I deal with it. It's totally not an issue. I just take a step back, I start to go, and I go, hey, have you ever helped a magician before? You're not helping one right now. Everybody's laughing, everyone's joking, and then I just go for the same force again. And the second time, the guy's going to play ball with me. It's important that when things aren't going your way, you realise that the easiest way to deal with it is just to make a joke out of it. Genuinely must make a joke out of it. Now, you see here again, I pick the thing up and I'm setting it. It gets set at the very, very beginning. But I'm not looking at the Acro Index when I'm setting it. I'm looking out at the audience. And just like I said before, although I'm performing generally to the person to my left, please notice I'm looking at everybody. I'm talking to everybody. I'm showing this to everybody on the table. Once I've shown it to everyone on the table, I'm going to go into the change, And it's such a magical change. It really is. So you do the change, it changes. I then show it to everybody on the table again, and then you've got that nice little sting where you take out of it, hey, that's the magic before it was the comedy. That's just designed to get people to give you a round of applause. It's a really fun routine. It's a great opener, and it really is worthwhile incorporating into your act.
Okay, so a trick that I gave download of the year to. I gave this download of the year, which is Colour Sticks by Eric Tate. And I've talked openly over and over again about how massive fan I am of Colour Sticks by Eric Tate. For good reason. It's a killer routine. It really is. He's taken the venerable plastic stick that's the quintessential hot rod and turned it into something super special. And this always gets a really great reaction. I got to be honest, I'm cheating a little bit with this one because I've been doing this in the real world probably now for about a year. And you know what? I've had people say to me, why are you performing that in the real world? It's just a plastic stick. And for everyone who said that, I've said you're completely missing the point, because this is such a strong, powerful, engaging routine. And I've seen the reactions over and over again. Think about it. It takes up no pocket space. And you just have a stick in your top pocket and another stick in your left-hand jacket pocket, and you're good to go. It's an instant reset. If you can do a paddle move, it's easy to do. The routine's linear, so you can kind of adapt it accordingly. Yes, Eric uses sleeves, and he does some fantastic sequences with sleeves. I have my sleeves rolled up, so I don't do those sequences. But instead, I do other stuff as well that uses the same concepts that Eric's kind of working with. You've got so many different ways that you can take it in the end. You've got some super visual moments. It's just great. I'm going to play you the performance footage of me doing this in the real world. My goal is that hopefully more people will start doing it. Let's have a look.
Sam, there's no right or wrong way to do this. People at the left brain tend to be more analytical and later. They're all about numbers, while people at right brain tend to be more creative, yes. Now, there's 6 colours on this. We have purple, green and red. We have silver, blue and yellow. Is there one colour that stands out to you? Red stands out to you. Okay, interesting. And if I asked you to give me a number between 1 and 100, what number would you give me? 14. So that tells me that you are more right brain and more creative. Do you agree with that? Okay, so let's see if that actually holds true. You said red. You know, on your phone, I'm sure you've got a smartphone. When you zoom in on your smartphone, you can do that and it zooms in on one particular image. Look at that red. You said red, right? If I do this, I can zoom in on the red. That's kind of, but you can literally just zoom in and zoom out. If I want to, I can give it a twist and I can actually have it turn red completely. Now that's only an illusion, it's not real. If I twist it again, it goes back to normal. How it works is it's an illusion, it never was a stick to begin with. Yeah, it's actually in my pocket. See, that's what happens, it goes back in the pocket. If I do this, I can actually take this one and split it into 2. And then you get 2 of them. If you get 2 of them, never cross the streams. It's like Ghostbusters. Across the streams, you get a red one over here. You get a blue. This is just not right. But we've gone from a little game of creativity into a little gambling game, but not for money, just for fun. You don't want to play me for money. We've got a red, I should come with a public service announcement. We've got a red one and a multicoloured one. If I take the multicoloured one and put it over here, where's the multicoloured one? So we're saying not over there, right? There's a technical term for this. It's called cheating. I'll do it again. Look, watch for the move. Look, there's the multicoloured one. Where's the multicoloured one? Yeah, you missed the move again, didn't you? It's over there. There's a move. You've got to watch the move. Let me show you the move. If I take the multicoloured one over there, right? You see it's over there, and then when I do the move, it turns into the red one. So if the red one's here, what's over there? Yeah, exactly. Now you're catching on, exactly. So now you know, now you can spot it. Just watch the move. Look, here we go. Where's the multicoloured one? No, it's over there. Do the move. Where's the multicoloured one? No, you missed that. Did the move. It's so annoying. I mean, however annoying you're finding this, imagine what it's like being married to me. It's not good. One last time. If I put the multicoloured one in my pocket, what does that leave over there? You missed the move again, but that's fine. I've been really enjoying performing for you. I'm going to let you keep this as a souvenir. Just don't lose it, okay? You want to make sure you hold on to it.
There you go. That's Colour Sticks by Eric Tate. I love that trick. Like I said, there's nothing else I can tell you about it. I mean, it's super strong. I can't really give it a higher rating. I think I gave it like 1,000,000,000% or something crazy like that. Like, honestly, it takes up no pocket space, and you would be amazed at the reaction it gets. You almost feel like you're cheating the reactions it gets are so good. So my advice is just buy yourself a set of these sticks. Get yourself your download from Eric. Just learn it, and you'll put a routine together that's based around color sticks, but it'll have your own personality in it, and it'll have some of Eric's moves and some of your own moves, and you know, it's great. I mean, I can do magic with pretty much anything. You know, I've been around the block quite a lot. I know a lot of different routines, but I always go back to color sticks over and over again. So surely that should tell you what I think about it. I absolutely love this routine. I recommend it thoroughly. It's a very cheap download. You can get the sticks directly from Eric or from a whole bunch of different places. And once you start performing it, it becomes very addictive. So I'm going to just do a commentary track over the top so you can see what I was thinking and what I was talking about, and kind of get into my head when it comes to performing that routine. We'll do a commentary track and then we'll wrap everything up.
So this routine, I absolutely love that the hook line is so cool. The hook line is, have you ever seen one of these sticks before? It works out whether you're right-brained or left-brained. And it really kind of justifies the use of this odd-looking prop. Now, the other thing I like about the color sticks routine is you can adapt it to your own personality and to your own character. My routine is very different to Eric's, but I'm kind of using the similar moves. Now, you'll notice I asked them what color stands out to them. 99 times out of 100 people say red. I mean, this is the beautiful thing that Eric has added that completely eliminates the hot rod force. The way that he frames this and the way that he performs it, pretty much every single time people say red. And then you've got this fantastic visual moment, which I think is one of the most visual things that you can actually do to a layman, because they understand the concept of zooming in and zooming out. So when you do that whole thing where you zoom in and zoom out, it's almost like the question reality. And then you see that, you know, you're doing all of these color changes. It's why it makes it such a great opener, because there's so much magic happening in such a very short period of time. Then you've got the vanish. Now, notice that I've got my sleeves rolled up. Eric uses sleeving, I don't. And but I still do a lot of the same phases, like the splitting of the stick. But this is where my routine varies. So I kind of go into this thing where I turn one of them red and the other one's multicolored. And then I go into a 2 in the hand, 1 in the pocket style routine, or a transposition style routine where the red stick and the multicolored stick change places. Now, I'm framing this as a gambling demonstration because that's kind of my character. But you could frame it however you want to. But the really nice thing is, you can only see this woman on camera here, but there's 3 people in this group. And you can actually see that I'm kind of speaking to all of them. And it is very, very engaging. The angles on this routine are perfect. There is nothing to worry about at all. Despite the fact that you're making things disappear and you're making things change and change places, and there's so much visual magic going on, they never see anything, and one of the reasons is the angles are absolutely perfect. So you do this over and over again, and how I've structured the end of this, and it's kind of really important to notice this, is I put one of the sticks into my top pocket. Now, that stick that I put into my top pocket is the stick that goes into my top pocket anyway. So in other words, I'm resetting the trick, which allows me to be in this situation. Now, you could examine this if they wanted to, because this stick is completely examinable, but I prefer to vanish it, have everything disappear, and you're kind of done. It's a very strong routine. And like I say, the combination of the vanishes and the flipstick moves and the color changes makes it very hard to beat when you're trying to perform. If you've got lots of people to get round and you have to do very quick sets in order to get round everybody, this routine is hard to beat because there's so much magic happening in such a very short period of time.
So there you go, guys. That's another review show revisited in the bag. Thank you very much for watching once again. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. If there's particular tricks that you want us to do on the review show revisited, please let me know, and I'm sure that we can make that happen. Also, Don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and this weekend we're going to be here with 8 videos, both days, on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to have a shorts at 2 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock we're going to have a Magic Live. On Saturday at 12 o'clock we're going to have an honest trailer. Sunday at 12 o'clock we're going to have a Q&A, and then on Saturday at 9 o'clock there'll be a Talk Magic, and then on Sunday at 9 o'clock there'll be a review show special. So there's a lot going on here on Magic TV. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you again. My name's Craig from Magic TV.